Alrighty, good morning, and let's go over week 27 for our 5-a-day. Today is Tuesday. So for today, like usual, we have to figure out our intensive pronoun. We have to figure out situations or things that can be shed. We had to figure out words that include the affix man, which can be at the end, can be in the middle, can be at the beginning. Also to find the vague pronoun and then fix it. And number 5, choose the matching analogy. For dreamer is too idealistic. All right, so let's get into this. First of all, we need to do our intensive pronoun. Um, Remember, an intensive pronoun is a pronoun that, first of all, ends in self or selves, according to whether it's singular or plural, and it also has to emphasize the subject of the sentence or the antecedent of the sentence. So in this case, if we're reading the sentence, if we are late to dinner, we blank will have to cook. So we is our subject. So our pronoun has to reflect that. So we means that you're part of it. So the pronoun has to reflect the fact that you are part of it and you are with more than one person. So there's a group of people. So we have we, our, ours, that kind of thing. So if we are late to dinner, we ourselves will have to cook. And of course, there's a group of people, so it has to be selves and not self. So we will include ourselves. So if we are late to dinner, we ourselves will have to cook. All right. So which of the following things can be shed? Now we have to figure out um, the actual definition of shed. Which one are they meaning? So in this case, it is a verb. So there is an action there. So we're going to leave out the little structure in the backyard that we throw our lawn tools in, or make a little she shed or whatever. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about um, letting something fall, letting something release, to drop off, to drop out. So when you lose weight, you shed weight, kind of thing. So it is a verb. So can we shed blood? Does blood flow from us? Yes. So that is one. Do tears fall or flow from us? Yes. Does snow fall? Yes. Can we release light? Yes. So in this case, we have all of them that can be shed in this case. All right, so let's look at man. This is to stay. So we're looking for words that include, that begin with, that end with the affix man. So we have a mandate. We have a mandate right now to stay at home. So we have permanent. Okay, so like marker, if you have permanent marker, it stays in place. If you have a permanent in your hair, that means your hair is curly. If you use permanent color in your hair, then the color is going to stay. All right. So we also have mandatory. We have adamant. And then we have imminent. So those are just a few of the examples of a word that includes the affix man. Of course, are they the only ones that you can use? Of course not. Can you use them? Of course you can. But if you have ones that are better than this, which I'm sure you do, use yours too. All right. So number 4, circle the vague pronoun, then rewrite the sentence so that its meaning is clear. So she bought a house with a pool, but it was in poor condition. Okay. So this one's tricky because we have two pronouns in this sentence. We have we have she, and we have it. But we don't, it's not more than one she in there. So this is not the vague one. It was one girl, one woman that bought the house. Okay. And the house had a pool. The pronoun that is vague in this situation is it. We don't know if the house was in poor condition or the pool was in poor condition. So, of course, you can make that decision as to how you want to fix it, if it was the house or the pool. I think I'm going to make the house was in poor condition. Okay, so she bought a house with a pool. Okay, and remember, there is that you get counted for those conventions, and there is that comma right there. So the comma needs to go in there and say, but this is where I'm going to change the pronoun to make it clear what was in poor condition. But the house was in condition. Okay, there we go. Now we know what it is in my situation. Now you could have said it was the pool. Either one is just fine, just as long as we know what it is. Okay, and then the analogy. Ugh, these are always hard for me. All right, so we have dreamer is to idealistic. So we need to think about this. You probably want to look up the word idealistic. When you look it up, you will see that idealistic is a characteristic of someone where they have an unrealistic view of perfection. So everything that happens is always going to be perfect. Everything they do is always going to turn out perfect. All their plans are always going to turn out perfect. And who does that, or who has that characteristic? A dreamer. A dreamer always will have that idealistic outlook. So we're looking for a characteristic that someone will always have. That's the matching part of our analogy. So we have a cynic is to critical. You probably would want to look that one up too. I hope you did. A parent is to loving. Novice is to skilled. Judge is to honest. Okay, so let's look at cynic. A cynic is someone that is always distrustful. They always find fault in why people do what they do, and so when you're critical of someone, you're always finding fault in things. So there's a good match right there. So a cynic will always be critical, but we can't stop there. We have to figure out if B, C, and D are better. So B, where this should be, a parent is not always loving. Some days they have worse days than others, and that's not always true. So a parent is to loving where it should be. It's not always a characteristic that they'll have. A novice is to skilled. Hopefully, you looked up novice, but a novice is someone that's new to a skill. If you're a novice, that means you're just learning how to do something, so you don't have the skills that you need to be skilled. So that's not going to be the one. And then, where, yes, just like the parents to be loving, a judge should always be honest. That is not always going to be the case. That is not always a characteristic for every single one, every single time, like it is to be a critical cynic. Okay, so dreamer is to idealistic, as cynic is to critical. All right. Remember, call or text me if you have any type of questions for this. All right. Take it easy, guys.